Hey everybody, we gather here today for a somber event as I talk about the death of the Justice League. And it really was kind of quick, but it's still a big event that DC has been running all year since June. I know it's December now. The event is kind of coming to a close, but a lot of people still are like, what the heck is going on with the death of the Justice League? Why did they die? What happened? Well, this is something that they've been kind of leading up to for the last maybe year or two. I kind of feel like they've been setting the stage for this ever since Rebirth, when they tried to fix the problems with everything the last time, and they rebooted all the books and they did a whole reborn universe. DC does this regularly. Back, starting back in the '80s with Crisis on Infinite Earths, and then in the late '90s, early 2000s with Identity Crisis, and then after that with Infinite Crisis, and then with Final Crisis, and now with the new event that started, which is Dark Crisis. And it feeds off of what happened with the Metal series. I don't know if you guys read that a few years back. There was Dark Metal and Death Metal and all of those that happened. The Metal stuff. It was good. It was a pretty cool series. It launched the Batman Who Laughs, which was a huge thing. It got you a lot of the variants of Batman, the Drowned, and the Batman Green Lantern, Lightbringer, and the Red Death Batman Flash combo, and it was just really interesting. I think the Batman Cyborg was kind of cool. Death Machine was that one. There was of course the nightmare type Batman, and then the whole thing with Thomas Wayne being Batman. It was just a very good storyline, and I still haven't read all of Death Metal. I did get into the last few books and picked them up, but I didn't get to read those yet. So I skipped ahead. We're gonna go ahead and do this. So this was Justice League 75 of the current Justice League series, and it definitely ends them. Um, the Justice League in this, it's Batman, Wonder Woman, Superman, typical, the triad there. Black Adam, there's Green Arrow, there's John Stewart Green Lantern, there's Black Adam, Black Canary, and Green Arrow. All of those were there. So basically, what happens is they get called to help fight some big black darkness thing. Then it's some they call the Forever Entity. Just like the light in the multiverse, there's the dark. In between them, and in between all of the multiverses, there or between the different universes, there's the bleed, and the darkness is beginning to trying to infect the bleed. So they're going to stop this darkness. Now, the darkness, we know, can never be stopped completely, but it can be put to sleep. It can be shut down. But as we see in this book, they've kind of the darkness has been reaching out and infecting people for years, and driving a lot of these crises that we've been running into. So it actually is revealed to be kind of the driving force between all of the crises, all the way back to the original Crisis on Infinite Earths. Very interesting. The darkness is not like a thing you can see. It's just kind of this overwhelming power that can affect people. So, um, you know, why don't we bring back one of the major characters from Crisis on Infinite Earths? Why don't we bring back Pariah? So Pariah is in this. He's kind of in between worlds, trying to keep his power subdued, but there's this constant nagging in his brain. He sees people who have died, and they're like, "All you got to do is go complete your machine, and then bring us back. Just complete your machine. That's all you got to do, right? Just a little taste of power, and we can come back, and promising this peace and salvation, right?" Well, of course, Pariah, always being a weak-minded kind of a character from the beginning, uh, is the ultimate loser. He's the one who's teleported to a universe or a planet or whatever, on the brink of destruction, and is doomed to watch it be destroyed. That is his power. but we find out that he's actually very, very powerful in this book. So, in issue 75 of Justice League, Pariah brings them all together. All the Justice League is brought to him by the Justice League Incarnate. They come to the Justice League on Earth, and they're like, "Hey, we need your help." So it's like I said, Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman, John Stewart, Green Lantern, Black Adam, Green Arrow, and Black Canary. So they all go to this Earth, this multiverse that has basically been destroyed. This Earth that has been destroyed, and they find the ruin of this Earth, and they find Pariah there building his machine, and they go to fight him, and all of these villains, Darkseid and Doomsday and everybody shows up, but they have these chains around them and this darkness around them, and so the darkness is controlling them, which means, of course, they're just hammers. They're not complex machinery that complex beings that can use their powers. They're just hit, and so as they fight, the Justice League figures out, hey, these are just big things coming at us. They're not like Darkseid with all of his power unleashed, or Doomsday at his full power, so they should be able to be defeated. Problem is that they're powered by the darkness, and the darkness is this infinite entity. So in the end, Pariah's like, fine, you're going to beat the darkness-infected villains, then try me. And he just blasts the Justice League and just vaporizes them. So now we have the Justice League gone. Everybody's dead, right? So that's pretty much the end of 75, Justice League 75. This came out, I think this came out in May of 2022. So you should be able to still find it. It had a cool acetate cover that covered the page to show that there's been Death of the Justice League, kind of like a big title. Very cool story though. I really liked it, and I haven't been too impressed with stuff from DC over the last year or two. So it was nice to see that. Then I did pick up Aquaman number. I know you're like, why did I pick up Aquaman? But Aquaman number 6, A Moment of Silence. A lot of stuff going on in the story, a lot of political stuff going on. So I don't know if if you've been following Aquaman. Sorry, this is Aquaman. Anyway, so at the end of it, though, it's announced. Oh, I'm sorry. Aquaman was part of the Justice League. I forgot Aquaman. How could I forget? They would take him to some alien planet and expect him to summon fish to help them. Anyway, Aquaman also dead. So we don't know what happened, but at the end of this, they all kind of are like, Aquaman's dead. The Justice League is gone. What are we going to do? So that leads us to the Justice League Road to Dark Crisis. And Hal Jordan comes to Earth and says, hey guys, I need your help. We don't know what's going on. And they're all like, the Justice League is dead. Didn't you hear? So we have a few things. I'm just going to kind of cover these 3 books because they all kind of go together as we launch Dark Crisis. So if you look at the front cover of Dark Crisis number 1, you have Cal's son, John. You have Nightwing. You have the Flash. Not Barry. This is Wally. And then you have Shazam, or Shazam, not Shazam. Yeah, Shazam. Sorry, that's what he's called now. Robin back in here, and she doesn't show up, but that's Reyes. I think the new Green Lantern, the new Wonder Woman from the Amazon, and then Black Adam. So Black Adam didn't die. We'll put it that way. Black Adam did not die. He makes it back to Earth. He ends up in the hospital, all beat the crap up, right? So he tells them it was just too much. We couldn't handle it. I was fighting and I got knocked away and they got wiped out. So he was, very shaken up by this. Like, how could he, Black Adam, he's kind of cocky. How could I be defeated this way? There's no way. And how could we? If this guy could defeat the Justice League, then what chance do any of us have? So he's very more pessimistic and negative than normal for Black Adam, which is hard to believe. A lot of threads get started in this book. Really good. Definitely pick up the Dark Crisis Special Edition. This was the Free Comic Book Day issue if you can. It has a little bit of stuff from several different things. and then the Road to Dark Crisis is a lot of the story leading up to what happened with the Justice League and everything. So, and then this all ties into Dark Crisis Young Justice #1, which I'll talk about in just a minute. But a lot of what you see in here is the younger heroes now. I'm sorry, I'm starting to lose my voice. I'm talking too much. I like this stuff. You know, this is a cool story. Not a sponsor, just say. A lot of stuff going on in this series, and it's fun to talk about. But you see the younger heroes stepping up to try to fill the gap. That's where we're at. So John understands that there needs to be a Superman, there needs to be a Wonder Woman, there needs to be a Batman, and he's kind of called on Nightwing. Hey, you know, can you just put on the cowl? Can you just take over that role? And Nightwing says, no, I'm going to go and I'm going to train the Titans. That's what I'm going to do, because the Titans are really the next generation. I need to train them. Wally is, you know, he's still freaking out because Barry's gone again. Or Barry? Or is this Barry? I don't remember. I'm sorry. Let me know in the comments if you read this and remember who that is. The Flash. That's the Flash. Anyway, Hal Jordan's back, which is cool, but Hal doesn't know what's going on either, so he's just trying to help out. Of course, you know, there's still a lot of negativity towards Black Adam. Shazam definitely does not trust him. He's like, you know, hey, this guy, the leader of Kandak, we really have some issues with him. He started all kinds of trouble before. How can we trust him? How do we know he didn't kill the Justice League? You know, all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of that going on. The new Wonder Woman down in the Amazon, or Wonder Girl, yeah. John goes down there and says, hey, we need a Wonder Woman. Can you please take her place? She's like, this place needs me. I don't have time to go out and gallivant around, so no. A lot of the heroes, the new young heroes, turn him down, which is kind of interesting. But a lot of the young heroes do definitely join up. You've got Supergirl, you've got several different ones that decide that they're gonna try to make a difference, which is cool. So, then we have Dark Crisis Young Justice #1. And you can see on the front cover that we have 3 heroes who are MIA. This storyline is very interesting. I've read the first book. I kind of know what's happening so far, but I really don't know what's happening. If you start reading this, partway through the first book, Impulse, whatever his name is now, Impulse, and Robin and Superboy, which this is Connor Kent, Superboy, and he came back to life, and I kind of missed that. So he was dead, he came back. Anyway, they disappear from the regular Earth timeline, and they appear in an alternate timeline, which is kind of weird. And Impulse is there, but he's like, Barry's gone, and there's some other things going on. There's like, but you know, we never got Barry back, and we don't know why. So this storyline is really interesting, and I'll have to see what's going on with that. So definitely read this. I'm sure it's still available at your local comic shop. You can always get it online. But yeah, then Supergirl shows up, or not Supergirl. Yeah, Wonder Girl shows up. Whatever her name is, shows up in there, and she's like, I'm here to help. But we don't really know what she's there to help with because we don't know what's going on. So it's interesting. But yeah, so that's it for week 1. There was one more book, and it's Flash 783. I did not get that. They're supposed to be pulling that for me at my local shop. But I'm sure it's just some more Flash story. But the Flash story ties through all the weeks. So you go from you know, and actually I'll put up the card at the end of this to show you the or as the header, but the list of books I'll kind of run them off for you, so that you know what to what to look for this week. Yeah, so for the first book to read, of course, is the Justice League 75. That's pre-event, and then you have The Justice League, well, the Aquaman, if you want to read that, and there's a few other books where the heroes die. But then in May of this year, 2022, you had Justice League Road to Dark Crisis #1. June was Dark Crisis #1, Dark Crisis Young Justice #1, and then The Flash 783. So we'll be talking about Dark Crisis 2, World Without a Superman, Dark Crisis, World Without a Superman. Sorry. How about Dark Crisis, World Without a Justice League, Superman #1, and then Dark Crisis Young Justice #2, and The Flash 784, except I don't have that issue either. But we'll talk about that, those books on the next episode. So definitely stay tuned for more content. Please like, share, subscribe. Let me know what you think. If you've read through Dark Crisis already, please don't spoil it in the comments for anybody. But talk about those first few books. Let me know what you think about the way the event was launched, kind of what happened there, if it was interesting, if it was not. I've done so many of these events with DC and Marvel in the past, and it's sort of disappointing. I mean, at least like with Marvel, with the X stuff that happened, a couple years ago, it really did change the world. It changed the way the mutants were handled, the way the X-Men were dealt with in the world. It moved everybody to Krakoa. It gave them all that stuff. Anyway, that's a whole other storyline. But with DC in the past, it seems like the events happen and they change a couple things, but they don't ever change anything really for the good. I know, the last big crisis was the whole rebirth thing, and that changed a lot. And then, of course, the convergence that happened before, and then all the stuff that happened with Infinite Crisis and with Final Crisis. There were changes to the universes, of course. But yeah, it seems like it always just kind of gets undone and redone, and I'm sure that's because we have companies now that have been in existence for, 80 years making stories, and how do you continue to make those stories relevant if you don't change up the universes? So let me know what you think. Just give me some comments if you would. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, subscribe. Again, this was Dark Crisis Week 1 from 2022, the big DC Comics event. Watch for DC Dark Crisis Week 2 coming soon. Thank you.